Welcome to 30 Day Real Estate. We're going to talk about winning presentations, not listing presentations. If you're walking into your listing appointment with a 50-50 shot of getting the listing, then you're absolutely doing it wrong. What you're going to get out of this module is a start to finish how-to on designing, phrasing, and presenting a listing presentation that actually wins listings. Confidence to stand with the strength of your brand, market knowledge, and brokerage when delivering and discussing your presentation with potential clients, and create a sense of value and get respect from potential clients due to your honesty and knowledge of all facets of your market, and most importantly, the goal of selling their home. You will win a listing within 30 days of implementing this program. At the end of this module, you're going to know how to design compelling branding in a listing presentation, find relevant data in the customer's area, develop a marketing plan for your potential client's home, use text marketing, find a professional photographer, feature homes on Trulia, feature homes on Zillow, find a stager for interior design consultation, break down relevant local market conditions, present yourself as an expert without a ton of experience, leverage statistics in your favor, leverage your brokerage's success, explain to the potential client what you can do to sell their home, differentiate yourself from the pack, and ask for the listing and business and get it. So let's talk about a few facts about the listing presentation. It's not about the length, pictures, or even your own personal stats. It's about the content that's relevant to the client. A lot of people, they'll go in there with no listing presentation. They're going with a 50-page listing presentation. And what it really comes down to is the relevant content. Most agents try to rely on their own reputation to get the listing, when what's more important is your knowledge of the market and the activities you're going to do that will separate you from 99% of the other agents trying to secure the business. So basically what I'm saying here is a lot of agents, they'll be in the market for a few years, and basically what ends up being laziness. And they'll walk and say, yeah, I sold 3 houses on the block, and, everybody knows me, and all this good stuff. Well, that is, I'm not saying that's not relevant, but when you're new to the real estate business, or maybe you're new to listing properties, you're not going to have a lot of those things to say. So it's most important that you go to these clients and talk to them about the market conditions, how powerful your brokerage is, just relevant information about what's going on. Instead of kind of bragging about what you've done in the past, you tell them what you're going to specifically do yourself to sell their home is going to be more impressive. Now, get an iPad or Android tablet. Most agents shuffle papers around, or worse, they leave behind their presentation for the client. Now, why do I say worse, leaving behind a presentation? Well, if a presentation is done correctly, it's going to have a marketing plan, it's going to have a price range of probably where, they want to, maybe not the exact price you're going to list the home at, but kind of the range. And a lot of times, and I've seen it, I'm not saying a lot of times, but I've seen it happen to where some clients are like, well, I can do that myself, and all of a sudden it becomes a FSBO, or for sale by owner. Or another agent stumbles in like, well, they said they could get this much for the house, and it's not good for your reputation. Just make sure you take it, you get a tablet, you have your presentation on the tablet, you take it with you. If you secure the business, then great. They don't need to have the presentation. No one else needs to see it. And no one else needs to know what you're talking about when it comes to how you're going to market their home. So let's talk about the perfect presentation. It contains market info relevant to the homeowner, the average selling price, the average days on market, definition of market value, and who the likely buyer will be based on local demographics and schools. The reason why they should hire you and your brand. Leverage your brokerage's stats if you are new. I remember when I started, I would say my brokerage sold $600 million in property last year. One, it was true, I wasn't lying. I belonged to a huge brokerage. But that's pretty impressive when you're talking to a homeowner with a $200,000 or $300,000 house that your brokerage sold $600 million in property in the city that you're selling property in. How you're going to market their home. This is a fun one. Scare them with the idea that you're going to hold an open house every single week until it sells. Clients want to see how much attention they're going to get now, not just a nice sign in the yard. So, I've gotten many listings on being the most tenacious, was the word my clients use, agent, meaning it's, I'll scare them and say, hey, I'll hold this house open, every Saturday and Sunday until I move the house. I remember one house I held open for, what was it? 5 or 6 weekends straight when we sold it. And the agent that before was actually an expired or canceled listing that I picked up. The agent before had told them that open houses don't sell homes. And I tell you what, that just, one, that's not the case. 2, it's good for you to hold open houses. And 3, when I told them I hold it open every single weekend, they hired me because I was the one that was the biggest quote-unquote go-getter. Use relevant customer sites to explain why you think the list price should be where you suggest it to be. Zillow and Trulia are wrong most of the time on the estimates, but they are the customer's view into the market. Address them and explain your position. So what I mean by this is when you do true comparables in the MLS or tax info and you pull your true comparables and it says the home is worth, or other homes have sold in the past recent 6 months for like homes for $450, and then Zillow says it's worth $375. Okay, it's not worth $375, it's probably worth closer to $450, but the people that are out searching for homes, 92% of them start their search online, so they're going to assume that the Zestimate or estimate on Zillow or Trulia or any of these other places is going to be fairly accurate. So you need to address that with your client and say, hey, the customers out in the market could possibly have an idea that it could be this much. I'm just letting you know, be aware that this is what's going on. That way, when they don't get offers or somebody tries to lowball them, they knew that that was what was out in the market. So you just need to address it in the listing presentation. So why are most listing presentations weak? Lazy realtors. It's easy to brag about past sales. It's not easy to put together a unique, well thought out presentation. By the time you get to the end of this module, you will leave them in the dust. Clients want to see effort. I'll just tag another point on this. If I've seen one realtor walk into a listing presentation with 3 sheets of paper, which is basically the comparables and maybe a list of homes they sold. I mean, I'm not saying these are bad things, but I mean, there's absolutely no effort put into it. They're basically going to leverage, I've sold, 1 million houses in the zip code. I'm your guy. And just try to, one call, pressure, close them like they're the biggest realtor in life. That's one way to go. Unfortunately, a lot of the clients you're going to be calling on, that we're going to teach in this program are going to be expired and canceled listings, to where they probably had a realtor do that before you went in there and they failed. So if you go back in there with just your ego, basically, it's going to be a long day at the office. You need to have a well thought out plan and presentation and walk them down the path of how you're going to sell their home. And a lazy realtor does not do that. Bad material. Clients like to buy and not be sold. When you show value of data and statistics and real numbers, clients buy into your knowledge and feel comfortable. When they feel like you are trying to one-call close them, they get nervous. So when I mean bad material, if you don't know what's going on in the market, you don't have any market statistics, or you BS or lie or whatever it is, it just comes off weak, and it makes your clients nervous that you don't know what you're talking about. And when you try to pressure close them at the end, hey, can I get you to sign here? I'm not saying one-call closes are bad. I'm just saying if you go in there unprepared and try to one-call close, it's not gonna be a good result most of the time. And no points of differentiation. If all you have to offer for marketing is a sign in the yard, then you're offering the same service as every single realtor on the planet that they're going to interview. Put thought into your strategy and walk them through the value of using you. And we'll go through a lot of that when we walk through some of these listing presentations. So let's talk about a little technology here. So first, we're going to get an iPad or an Android tablet. I think the iPad is superior. Again, I feel like I'm repeating myself. You're watching these modules. I'm an Apple guy, but I'm not, like I said, I'm not against Android, but depending on what brand you get, you may not be able to use the apps, or it might not support the apps that you need to run. I know Apple does because I use them, so I'm always going to recommend Apple, but just get a tablet of any kind that can do a spreadsheet or do a PowerPoint presentation. Keynote or PowerPoint. So you'll need versions for both your iPad or your PC or your tablet. You probably should get PowerPoint. Obviously, on PC, you're only going to be able to get PowerPoint. And on the Android tablet as well. But if you have Mac, I highly recommend using Keynote just because it's a superior program in my opinion. It's easier to use. It's easier to move stuff around in. In the user site, I'll have the presentations that are branded to get you started, and those will be in both. So I'll have a set that are in PowerPoint, I'll have a set that are in Keynote, and then you guys can, download from there. FlexMLS, so you'll put your comps from the tax records here and other comparable properties that are already on the market to show clients where they're most likely land for their property price-wise or for their listing price. We'll also be using Zillow, Trulia, and Redfin. These are free to use. Sign up if you don't have an account. You should have an account already. If you don't, do it now. And you'll be able to see what each home's worth with respect to your comparable properties from the customer's point of view, from their estimates on their sites. And RBI from MLS. So this is an optional one. I'm going to show it in the walkthroughs because it's awesome, and it's $25 a month. But you can literally load up the price band and the zip code of the home that like say you're trying to sell a home in 85044. I can put that in, then I can put in 400 to 500 price range, and I can tell them the average days of market in that zip code for that price range. I can tell them what percentage of it sells to the listing price. So maybe it's 95.4% to the listing price of the average sales price. I mean, it's just a data monster, and you can do it in seconds as opposed to like digging it up out of the MLS or going somewhere else to find it. So I pay the $25 a month to have the quick, easy access. I recommend you do too. If you go to MLS, if you're in FlexMLS, you go to the bottom under products, you'll see RBI, and you can sign up for it there. So how much will this technology cost me? Well, the iPad, again, you can get one refurbished, or you can get a mini for $200. You know, any Android tablet you can get between $200 and $400 as well. So, I mean, as long as you're willing to spend $300, you'll be able to get into anything. As far as that's concerned, go to apple.com, go to refurbish or clearance. You'll find that stuff there. For the Apple stuff, if you're really on a budget, if you want to have, you know, the latest and greatest, good for you. Go ahead and do that. Whatever your budget, you know, can handle. Keynote and PowerPoint. So Keynote is $9.99 on the iPad. PowerPoint is free on the iPad. I know there's Office 365. Go to Microsoft.com. I think there's a pay per month. It's basically you rent the programs at this point. So if you're a PC user, check that out there. But it's very minimal cost. FlexMLS isn't free, but you pay for it in dues for the MLS, so you're already paying for that no matter what. Zillow, Trulia, and Redfin are free to use on the web and their apps. So now they're not free to buy leads from, they're not free to advertise on, but they're free to have just an agent account on. So make sure you're signed up for those. And RBI for MLS, this one's going to be $24.99. But again, I can't stress enough, it's going to save you so much time. And it's good data, good screenshots, good infographics, and just stuff that you can use not just for your listing presentation, but if you're sending out emails to prospective buyers, prospective sellers, expired and canceled, I mean, all these buckets that we talk about, it's going to give you great data to attach and drop into those emails that no one else is going to do. So you can really set yourself apart, and it's a great marketing tool, and it's great for you to know what's going on in your market as well. So let's get started. So as part of the training system, you're going to get my listing presentation. So this is a presentation I used to use. It's going to seem pretty basic in some parts, and it's going to seem pretty off the wall in some other parts. So I was a RE/MAX agent, and so basically it's going to have a lot of RE/MAX stuff in it, but actually show in this tutorial how to go online, find different facts about your brokerage. The best source of information to get good, quick places to go is going to be the owner of your brokerage. So if you're Century 21, Coldwell Banker, Keller Williams, and all this other stuff, you just load that into a Google search or go to your actual site, and you'll have a bunch of, you know, statements and facts and figures and stats for each one of those big guys. If you're a smaller one, talk to your broker, owner of your brokerage, and he'll tell you what you sold last year as a brokerage and all those other things to kind of get some facts and stuff. This one's going to be for RE/MAX, so you know you'll see how it goes with RE/MAX. But you can plug in your other facts and figures yourself. So branding is key. Do not take the template and call it good. If you did, I hope everybody's a RE/MAX agent if you try to do that, because it's going to be a long day at the office if you're Century 21 to use my RE/MAX presentation. But you know, put in the picture of the homes you sold. If you haven't sold any homes yet, just pick somebody in your brokerage just sold. No big deal. Zillow and Trulia usually have high-def pictures. You can save them to the desktop, so you don't have to really go out and get anything. Don't take pictures yourself with an iPhone. Make sure you get pictures that had professional photography done so it looks good, because this is going to be them, you know, you selling them on you. So, and make sure you insert your company banners. Again, I'm going to have the the templates loaded up. I think we have Century 21, Berkshire Hathaway, Keller Williams, Remax. I think there's one more in there that we have, Coldwell Banker. So we have the really big guys in there have their own kind of, I just went ahead and just branded theirs really quick with their banners. If you belong to a smaller one, I also have a blank template loaded up that you can insert your own banners or use more of a generic one that you'll have to put more of your own stuff in. So templates are great to get started, but personal detail stands out. So anything that you can put that's you know, original to you or your brokerage or your company, you want to put that stuff in there. And then you also want to put, you'll see at the front of the presentation, you know, that the marketing presentation is for Mr. and Mrs. Doe or John and Jane Doe. And it looks like you're really personalizing it for them, that you made it for them. You put time in to sit down with that hour or however long your presentation is going to be with them. You know, you want to make sure it's very personal because they want to do business with a person, not, you know, some presentation that you give to every single person that has no personalization in it. So, you know, just make sure you keep it personal and directed toward them at all times. The next slide is a video will walk through the template and how the presentation will go. So basically, I'm going to run through it, and I'm just going to basically say what you're seeing on the page and why it's there. So this isn't the actual listing presentation. If you want to see me deliver a mock listing presentation, which will be the same one, go to the video library. It'll be called My Listing Presentation, and it's me running through it just in 20 minutes, but it's me kind of delivering the listing presentation as if there was no, you know, conversation or questions being asked, so it's 20 minutes. We all know they last longer 20 minutes, but you can watch me deliver that on screen. This one's just a walkthrough of the different parts and components of the listing presentation. Right, we're going to do a quick walkthrough of a listing presentation. This is a listing presentation that I've used in the past, and we're going to go through some of the components it's going to have. I'm not going to actually give the listing presentation until the end of the module. I just want you guys to see the different components, the different kinds of branding, the information, the marketing. A lot of you will be able to get one of our templates. Well, all of you will be able to get a template, but we have templates already pre-made for Century 21, Coldwell Banker, Remax. This is the actual Remax one. Berkshire Hathaway. And so we have a few already made for the big guys. And then we'll have a blank one that you guys will be able to use if you're not with a major you know, real estate company that you'll still be able to utilize. So I'm going to go through this real quick. Don't worry about keeping up. I'm just going to kind of say what each slide is. It's going to give you an idea of what we're going to give our potential clients in a listing presentation that's going to help us win these listings. So as you see at the top here, I always have the actual name of the clients I'm giving it for to make it, you know, make it specific to them, and a few pictures of houses that I've sold or listed in the past. So the first slide is about Remax as a company. So I have a few facts there. The second one is about my specific brokerage. So what my brokerage has done, because if you're new to the business or haven't had that many listings, you're going to want to leverage your company name and your brokerage statistics or your company statistics to kind of build yourself up. So it goes company, brokerage, and then why hire me? So these are things that I like to say. These are things that clients care about. So I like to take it from the top down all the way down to the bottom level. Now, this is the Remax one. So basically this has, you know, Remax branding, has the balloon, has the most recognizable real estate. So again, I'm just confirming that you're doing business with not just me, but a brand and a brokerage and, you know, things of that nature. So another one is some actual statistics. So these are the Remax statistics stacked up to some of our other, some of the other competitors. If you belong to one of a competitor of Remax, you guys go to your own websites. You guys have your own facts and figures and, you know, customer service scores and all these things. This would go here to kind of prove out, you know, why they're going to do business with you and why they want to. Again, this just reaffirms that, you know, a statistic that Remax has and just shows that they're a leader in what they do. This one has to do with advertising. Again, this is just reinforcing the client's trust in the brand and person they're doing business with. So this house was actually for a semi-luxury house. Usually I do $700,000 and above. This one's actually, I think, $450,000. that we're using for an example. But I like to say something specific about the home. So if you have a luxury home, this is a good thing to say. These are good sources. So this is from the Wealth Report of 2012. And it talks about where the luxury buyers come from. And it just makes you look a lot more intelligent than saying, you know, here's a list of the houses I sold and I can sell yours. It shows the client you have an understanding of the actual market. Again, this is another RE/MAX, a RE/MAX visual, but a lot of these companies are going to have multiple offices in multiple countries. So you put that graphic here to show that, since I just mentioned that a lot of them come from overseas to buy luxury property, these are all the areas that we represent, so to reinforce that thought. So now that we did kind of a global, we're going to tie it back into their neighborhood. So basically, this type of data just comes from your MLS or RBI MLS, and it just gives them statistics like, you know, monthly sales, is it up or down month over month, year over year, new inventory, months of supply of inventory, and the average days on market. So what we're doing here is we're kind of setting the table for what they can expect, what's going on around them, and again, you being a total professional and knowing down to a percentage point what's going on around them. So the next thing we're going to do is, now that we've talked about globally, we're talking about locally, now we're talking about fair market value. This slide and the next two slides are going to talk about what you can expect when you price a property correctly or incorrectly, and what they can expect on that. So we talk about fair market value, we talk about location, condition, buyer demand, all those things you see here: price, terms, condition, marketing, and value. Now we talk about the window of opportunity to actually sell a house once we get it toward the fair market value. So our window of opportunity, you know, highest in the third week when they know it's on the market, starts declining, and then about the seventh week kind of bottoms out. So you're telling them that you want to make sure we price it right. And all we're doing here is conditioning them and telling them and showing them that we know how to move property, we know why it moves, and what they can expect in the sales process. Here's a pricing figure. So again, we talked about market value, we talked about time on market, and now we're talking about a pricing model here. Again, we're just conditioning the potential client to bring them back to the realm of reality so we can sell their house, not just list it. And you can even use that in your presentation. You know, I'm in the business of selling homes, not listing them. And this kind of shows that, you know, overpricing and market value. So now we get to the actual marketing of their home. So we've already informed them who we are, who our company is, who our brokerage is, what their home is possibly, how their home is going to be judged in the market, how long it should stay on the market and get the most attention. We've given them community statistics, we've given them global statistics. Now we get down to the nitty-gritty of marketing the home. So we're going to talk about the regular stuff here: yard signs, open houses, property brochures, broker tours. So this is kind of I call it the branding essentials. Like, you're going to get this from pretty much every realtor. And then we talk about exposure with this real estate brand, which in this case is RE/MAX. So RE/MAX has some good infographics on how many visits RE/MAX.com gets compared to everybody else. Like I said, your specific companies and have your specific statistics, and this is where you plug these in here. And this is the exposure, the marketing or the exposure their homes are going to get. So RE/MAX has some good infographics online of like all these different icons of, you know, tablet, phone, mobile site, website, and all these things people are going to be able to find their home on. Again, we're just pumping up the exposure of the home. And then we talk about, in this slide, this is a very powerful one, because you show all the places people are going to be able to find their home. So a lot of people some people don't even know about, you know, Zillow or Trulia, to be honest. I mean, they're very common, but, you know, you have an older crowd, luxury homes, they don't even know these places exist, and they have millions and millions of visitors per day. So you need to make sure you inform them of how that works when exposing their home. So now we went through kind of the boilerplate. You know, we're going to be online, we're going to be, you know, on my company's website, you're going to have a yard sign. So that's kind of the boilerplate stuff that everybody's going to give. This is the part where we turn it on the actual specific marketing you're going to give them that no one else probably is, or very few will. So I kicked that off with professional photography. We actually talk about where to find those later on in the module. Go to LinkedIn. This is a short answer. Go to LinkedIn, find professional photography, or Google real estate photography in the city and state that you're in. The easiest way to find them. You should only be paying $100 to $150 per home to get good pictures taken. That's 50, 60 pictures professionally. But I always give clients professional photography. For instance, I just listed a home, it was probably a year ago. It was a $500,000 property, and they'd taken pictures with an iPhone. And the house looked horrible in the MLS, and so I was like, it was expired and canceled that I went and called on. And I'm like, wow, this is going to be a tough sell. I walk in the house is beautiful. The pictures were just horrible. And the house, had an offer and sold inside of 3 weeks. It was unbelievable. But, you have to explain the power of photography to these clients. So in your listing presentation, you say that you offer it, and you also give them a statistic that says, because this is true, 92% of people start their search for a home online. And how do they see it? Pictures. So professional photography is not just a feature, it's a must if you want to sell your home. So that's one of the standout perks, the separation perks we give. Professional staging. Again, LinkedIn is the best possible place to find interior designers. But find an interior designer, preferably an independent one. That way, if they work for a company, it's kind of hard for them to get out and kind of do this unless it's only on the weekends. I found an interior designer that works for that's featured in Houzz, which is obviously very prominent. And basically, she gives it for $150. She goes through, sits with the clients, and tells them how to position the items that are already in their home to make it look better for buyers or potential buyers right now. So it also makes you look like the good guy and them the bad guy. You're not telling them to declutter their house; somebody else is. But no one else offers staging. So offer that. Again, go to LinkedIn, start paying people on there, and trying to pull one of those in. So text marketing. So we'll go through a little bit about text marketing in another module. We'll get in a little bit deeper on it. But text marketing on the sign. There's a lot of companies that have it prepackaged. I don't. I basically have a separate company that I use for text marketing, and I do my own stuff because one, it's cheaper, and two, it's more effective, and they follow up like 3 times. It's great. But text marketing is something that maybe only 2 to 5% of realtors even use, and a lot of the systems they use are very complicated. So again, above and beyond what everybody else does. Again, if you're one of the 5 realtors that are getting interviewed, this is going to put you on top of the list as well. So now we've talked about what we're going to do. We've done the boilerplate. We've done the above and beyond features of our marketing. And now this is where we get really honest and start to build that rapport and start creating the realm of reality with our potential clients. So now we start bringing them in, and we talk about presenting their home, their first impressions, how we decorate for a quick sale, making sure light comes in through the windows, they have screens, take them off, fix any handyman stuff. And then we talk about making repairs, value from top to bottom, safety first, make closets look bigger. What we're trying to do is trying to give them tips and value of what they can do to help themselves and help themselves though sell their home. So we're kind of putting some of the onus back on them to where this is what I'm going to offer. I'm going to give you all this value, and I'm going to ask a few things from you because we're in this together, and to move the home. And what that does is kind of builds a give to get, a kind of a what's it called? A reciprocity. It's like you give them something, now to give you something. So I'm going to give you all this value. I need you to help me out when selling your home. And that further develops a relationship subconsciously of this is the guy we're going to be using, or girl. So now we're getting to the end of it. And now we talk about fair market value. I always put what I think we can get for the house or what the market thinks we can get for the house at the very end, because I want them to hear me of what I'm trying to say about my brand, how we're going to go to market, what I need them to do to go to market, and then we talk about price. If I talk about price first, that's all they're going to think about. If I said this is what I think we can get, we're going to talk and argue or discuss that for the rest of the time instead of going through the entire listing presentation. So I put this at the end. And what I do here is I pull comps from Zillow, Redfin, Trulia has comps too. And basically for this home, they had it listed for $479 when it was expired, but all the comp said $431, Zillow said $415, Redfin said $430. So we went in and listed it. It was actually in really good condition. We listed it for $445. We ended up selling for I think $432. So it actually went exactly where the consumer site said. But the reason why I bring these in to back me up is because every consumer is going to go to Zillow, Trulia, or any of these sites to find out, see the pictures, one, and they look at these estimates on the house, and that's their idea of what they should pay. So when I bring in comps and everything else, I tell them, it's not the end-all, be-all. Zillow and Trulia might not be that accurate, but everybody else looks at them like they are, so we need to consider those when pricing the home. Now, one thing I don't do here is what I'm going to price it for until they pick me as their listing agent. The reason why is I'm not going to give somebody an entire marketing strategy and a pricing strategy if they're not going to use me. What I say at this, when we get here is, if you guys choose to use me, we'll talk about what price we're going to end up landing on. I think it needs to be between X and Y to get the best marketing for the home, but I don't land on a specific number because I'm not trying to get judged on that between other realtors. I want them to judge me on the value I'm going to bring with all the marketing, the brand, and everything else, and then we'll discuss the price later after they make their decision on me being head and shoulders above my competition. We can talk about price later. So I want them to make their decision on that, not the price point, until I know for sure that they're going to be a client of mine. So now this is where we ask for the business. So I thank them, got a picture, got my name, got all the stuff on here. Now, I don't leave this presentation with them. This is on an iPad. And to be honest with you, if you print it out and take it there, it's not the worst thing in the world. It'd look more professional on an iPad. If you do put it on papers in a book, make sure you take it with you. Don't leave any of your marketing strategy behind for another realtor to say, yeah, I can do that for you. Take it all with you. You should have explained your value by now. You should have basically given them everything they need to make their decision if they want to be with you or not. But basically, this is the last page. It has your face, and this is where you ask for the business. It's if I can deliver on all these things here, and we can land on the right price that you want or need to get for your home, can I be your listing agent? Would you let me sell your house for you? And they said, well, yeah, that's fine. Then we send the paperwork over. They say, oh, we have other people to interview. You do it just like any other job. When is a good time for me to follow up with you to find out about your decision? Well, maybe we're going to make our decision Thursday. Can I follow up with you Thursday night? I mean, you're very aggressive and you're asking for the business here. So again, this is the flow. So you introduce yourself, your company, your brokerage, and then you build value around some data points of the market. And then basically you bring it down into the market, or the marketing, and not the average sales price, but the value of the home, the market value. And then you bring it down into, what they need to do to sell their home, no matter who they choose. And then, your big points of differentiation. And then we wrap it all up with, what the market looks like as far as the retail sites and what the comps say. And you leave that not vague, but vague. And then basically at the end, you ask for the business. But you always, thank them for their time. They're going to have a lot of questions during this. I just want to use this to show you the flow. At the end of this module, I actually go through it as if you were a client and go through it slide by slide of how I would actually deliver this to a prospective client. But thanks, and we'll get back to the video. All right, so it's time to cut and paste. So now that we know where everything is going to go and what the flow looks like, let's start putting in our own clip art, pictures, and brand. So pretty easy to do. If you Google search the major guys, if you belong to a major real estate company, like I said, RE/MAX Century 21, go ahead and Google that, push on images, and you'll get every single logo, yard sign, banner, infographics will pop up. If you belong to someone as big as a RE/MAX, I think they have a marketing of Main Street, if they still have that, which is a big marketing area for any RE/MAX agent, so you can go find a bunch of stuff in there. Everybody else, same thing. You guys have your own sites, so make sure you get your stuff in there and plugged into the presentation directly. So this is the type of material that will rarely change, so be sure to save your template after doing this so you have a clean branded template to start for each individual presentation. So what I mean by this is once you put in some pictures and you put in your clip art, you're not going to change that out again. So make sure you save that one, and maybe you save it as your template. And then every time you do a new listing presentation, you copy that one and then name it the name of the potential client that you're about to go on the listing presentation with. All right, so you're duplicating your template. Then you name the new one, and you're going to change the name on the front. You're obviously going to change facts about the neighborhoods, probably different neighborhoods. You're going to change the comparables. You're going to change the Trulia Redfin suggested estimate prices. There's going to be things you're going to be pulling out of there, but there'll be a lot of things you'll leave. So just make sure you start off with one that's completely branded, and then you duplicate it, and then do an individual one for each client. You now have your very own branded template that just needs market data, comparables, and fun facts about the home you're trying to sell. The next slide details what type of branding you will need and where you can find it. So now we're back, and we're going to try to find some things to brand our presentation. Now, I know I gave you guys templates inside of the Member Center, but in case you're not one of the main the main brokerages that we're going to have a specific template for. You're going to have generic, some generic icons or generic templates that you put your own icons are. I'll show you how to find those icons. It's going to seem a little, not remedial, but a little easy to find. But what I really want to focus on is getting some data points for your specific company. So basically, I'm from Remax. That's who I was a realtor with. But I want to show you like some other companies. So we're going to start with Century 21, and we'll do logos. So first we'll find some logos, and we'll go here to images, and it's going to pop up all the stuff. So as you can see, there's every type of Century 21 logo in life. So if you want to spice up your presentations, I would use some of these to really make it pop and stand out. So, you know, when we say yard signs, if you had a yard sign on one of the slides that showed the basic branding we're going to do, then you do this one. You pull this one out, and what you can do is, you know, right-click it, and you can just save image to the desktop, and that's what I do. We're just drag and drop it into your presentations. Got a cool one here that's kind of to the side. A lot of good stuff that we have here. So this is where you're going to find most of your branding and everything you're going to put in to really make it pop. Now, some other stuff they want to do is Century 21, let's see, facts. So let's see what we got here. So this is good, Century 21 Wikipedia. So let's see what it says here. And again, I haven't done this for Century 21. So basically we can go here. Okay, we're founded in 1971. 7,100 independently owned operating franchises. We're in 74 countries worldwide with over 100,000 sales professionals. So this one sentence could fill out that one slide of who we are of Century 21 with just powerful, bold statements of facts of what's going on. So we can actually go to the official website here, it looks like. So let's go to century21.com. Okay, so here we go. First-time home buyer, repeat home buyer, first-time home seller, repeat home seller. Got J.D. Power and Associates. So you can even take this icon out and put it in your desktop here. You could save image to the desktop. So this is very good here. This has a lot of good stuff as far as things you can use to really show off the brand. Now, when it comes to your brokerage, what you're going to want to do is go to your broker. Or the owner of your brokerage, email them saying, hey, you know, what were our sales over the past year if you don't know? How many people do we have inside of our brokerage if you don't know? And you want to build that slide out, which is, you know, you first got the company, then you got the brokerage, then you got yourself. So this is where we're going to pull a lot of that stuff when it comes to filling out those listing presentations with good factual information of how to leverage your brand in your brokerage. Now, when it comes down to talking about yourself, you can use the same bullet points I use. I use only 4. I know how to find buyers. I know how to negotiate. I know how to find buyers or how to leverage other salespeople. Those bullets are really the meat and potatoes of what I'm personally going to do, but I really want to leverage the strength of my brand. So when it comes to getting these statements and getting these sound bites, if you will, a lot of companies, and Remax has, I'm sure Century 21 actually has a portal for its agents to where you go to like a marketing area of your website, and it's going to have, you know, maps of what countries you're in, or it's going to have, you know, statements or awards from 2013, 14, 12, whatever you need to get for those facts. So leverage those. If you can't find anything, you have a super small brokerage, it's not a major brand, that's fine. Go to your broker. He or she's going to be able to point you in the right direction to get some facts. You can fill out those sheets. What you're trying to do is you're trying to make the client feel good of who they're planning on placing their most valuable, more than likely their most valuable asset, their home, whose hands are going to put it in. So the more bold your brokerage, your company, and you sound at the beginning of your listing presentation, the more comfortable they are, and then more willing they are to listen to what you have to say because they already feel comfortable with your ability to be able to sell their house as a company. Now it turns on, what are you going to do for me to sell my home? So find all your branding stuff on your prospective sites. If you don't have any, if you don't have a big site, that's fine. Again, go to your broker and find your stuff there. So this is a quick walkthrough. Again, you can find a lot of stuff by Googling, cutting and pasting, going to Wikipedia. Just find the info you need to kind of fill out these statements of why they would use you as a company, a brokerage, and as a realtor. The next step, data. Be smarter than the next guy. So do your comparables and get the usual stuff together. Average time on market, average sales price per square foot, school districts, HOA cost. Now these may or may not make it into the listing presentation. Like HOA cost probably won't make it in there. But you just need to have all that data ready to go. And the reason why I say that is you know, right now, I remember a lender told me that for every $10,000 you finance is about $50 to $55 in payment, right? So if you have somebody that has a $25 a month HOA, that's like financing an extra $5,000, you know, in payment, right? It's extra 25 bucks. If you're following me here, and so you go across the street to the next HOA, and it's $150 a month. That's basically between $5,000 and now $30,000 in, let's just say, buying power that got ate up just by HOA fees. So you need to make sure that you know that to bring it up with your client if you have that type of situation. That, hey, people that move in here, it's a very high HOA, and this is how what it's gonna mean to them in a buying power situation. So you just need to kind of have that stuff together, just so you can be the smartest guy in the room. Now it's time to tap into the retail data from Zillow, Trulia, and Redfin. These sites are great to give your client a heads up on what potential buyers might be prepared to pay. So every agent's going to tell you that they absolutely hate Zillow for this estimate because they're usually very inaccurate. They don't take into account condition of the property. They only take into account an algorithm that basically says how many foreclosures, how many short sales, how many square foot the building is, and how many square foot the lot is. And then it comes up with a price. And it changes based on different sales and everything else, kind of like comparables. But again, they have no idea if it's, you know, never been remodeled from 1982 or if it had a complete gut update in 2015. So there's a lot of different things to consider when you're thinking about these retail sites. But the one thing that is true is that most potential clients or customers are do-it-yourselfers. They're going to look on the internet first, and they're going to go to Trulia, Zillow, or Redfin to take a look at these properties, and it is going to have an estimated price of what they think it should probably sell for. So you just need to know that, you know, to address it in the listing presentation, they will appreciate the heads up, even though they'll probably get sick to their stomach when you tell them, you know, Zillow says it's worth $30,000 less or whatever it is. It's usually not that bad. I mean, I think the one in the listing presentation I had was Zillow said 430,000 and some change, and I think we listed for 445, and it was fine. So I mean, it's not that far off. But you need to give them a heads up on that. So RBI and Flex MLS, plug in their price band and zip code, get the average days on market, percentage of selling price compared to list price, etc. This data will be very interesting to them, and no one else will have it. Trust me. The reason why they won't is because they're lazy. And unless they have a very good assistant that pulls that stuff for them before they go out, they're probably not going to speak to it. They're probably going to talk about themselves and how good they are and how many houses they've sold, but they're not going to walk in with this data like you are. So again, data is your friend. Data is your reputation. Data shows that you're smart and you're approaching the business in a very intelligent way, and they're going to appreciate that. So the next video we'll walk through is going to walk through where to find the data for your presentation. Right, so let's find some market statistics. So first what we're going to do is we are going to go to RBI. So when you're in the MLS, let me close this up. When you're in the MLS, you go down to products, you'll see RBI. So just click on that, and it's going to pull up this dashboard. Now RBI costs about, I think it's $24.99 a month. So before you get scared about it or scared of it, this is going to cut so much time, so much time out of pulling stats and showing value to people. It's well worth it. So let's jump to the statistics page. So this is going to be what is going on in Arizona right now. So it kind of has what's been selling, new contracts, closed contracts. So it has kind of the big numbers. Total dollar volume sold year over year, we're up 21%, month over month 35%. So just crazy. Median sold price is up 6.5 year over year. Days on market up a little bit this last month. So basically, what we're gonna do is we can select different types of data that we can show here. So let's see. Single family detached. So that's the same as also, we keep that one. Let's do the list price. So the house that we're showing off in our example here is $450. So we'll do this. So the average sale price for a home that's between $400,000 and $500,000 is 134 days compared to the average home, which is 92 days. So we're looking at an extra 40 days on market here. So when we're listing these homes, we want to be able to screenshot this stuff and show potential clients the reality of what it is. A lot of agents will shoot themselves in the foot and say, well, I can sell the house in 2 weeks. Well, just statistically, that's not probably true. So you want to make sure you're coming with real fact-based data, and this is really going to help you out in setting the correct expectation with your clients. Here's a good one here. So let's show the average sold to original list price. So let's do that one at $400,000 to $500,000. So it's about 94.3%. So you take 5% off of that. You're looking $20,000 to $25,000 below asking price. So that's another good one to show to clients when you're listing it. Now, when the average one is 95.4, it's only 1% below the average, but this is good information to show. And you can change the months and dates down here, and you can select the difference between their house and, say, the average house, which is $200,000 to $300,000. We'll take the all out of there. So 95.7. That's another 1.5 points higher for the $200,000 to $300,000 homes. So these are some of the statistics that you can put in there to get some of the crucial data you're going to need when it comes to showing the clients that you know what you're talking about when you're just showing them market statistics. Now, when it comes to doing comparables, let's try this one here. So basically what you do is you can go to tax info. So we have our home here. Let's go to tax info. And then basically we're going to have comparables right here. So let's go and launch the comparables. And we'll see what this pulls up. So sweet. So we have 4 other homes that are in the range here. So this kind of shows like the price per square foot and the full cash value ratio. So if we do price per square foot, the highest one was going to be $464. The lowest is $395 in this, and this is give or take 20% in the lot, give or take 10% in the building. See if you can know this is 6 months and see if it takes too many homes away from us. So we have 2. So this is good price. That's almost the same, but obviously the low is a little bit higher because obviously the market's a little bit better right now, a little bit healthier. So $425 is going to be the average dollar per square foot versus what we're comparing right now. So I'm going to screenshot this and I'm going to show them that based on comparables of what is sold over the past 6 months, $425 is going to be more than likely where people are going to be looking to aim when the real estate agents, make offers with their clients for their home. So another one we'll go to is, let's go to Zillow and see what it says. So we got $425 on comparables. Oh, that wasn't what we wanted. Okay, so we got this. So the Zillow's estimate says $426, so it's only about $1,500 off what our other home was, or what our comparables were for that. So let's go to Trulia. Now what we're doing is we're taking screenshots of all this stuff as we go, because we're going to be plugging a lot of this stuff. it says I can't find it. Well, maybe better if I... Well, it's not going to show us that. So, anywho, you would go to here and you'd pull up the property here if it's listed in Trulia. And then we go to... Now, Zillow and Redfin are the two I use exclusively anyway, because sometimes Trulia just doesn't have a good estimate or doesn't have one at all. So basically, you're just trying to find out what the homes are selling for. And then, okay, this is what we're looking for here. Let's see. So we got nearby homes here. So this one was $445, exact same as the one here. It's a little bit smaller. This one there. There's a short sale there. So these are things that are similar. So if we average these out, they're going to be around 425, the 445, 407, 339. If we average out, because this one's almost the same square footage and $45,000 less, it's going to be about 425 here too. So we're going to add that stuff in as well. So this is where we're going to find our comparable stuff. Again, the MLS, the actual sold homes are what's going to be, or what's really going to matter when it comes to you know, is it going to appraise or not. But you know that 92% of people start their search online. They're going to be looking at Zillow. They're going to be looking at Redfin. They're going to be looking at Trulia, and they're going to think that that's the price because they don't know that more goes into those equations, such as you know, Trulia doesn't go inside your home and say, you know, hey, this is nice, it's finished well. They just go on the square foot in the area, and they have an algorithm. So, but you want to walk your clients down the path of, this is what other people think it's going to be worth. This is what the retail world is telling them. So we need to take that into account when we price the home, so we can make sure that you'll be able to move the house as quick as possible and for a fair price. So that's where I find my comparables, and that's where I find comparables both in the MLS and also on retail sites. Time for your marketing plan. So this part is where you're going to show the client your resolve, tenacity, and creativity when selling their home. Open houses. Do not be the guy that says open houses do not sell homes. If you are, agents like me will beat you all day. Open houses are a good exposure for both you and your clients, and they bring buyers, which can land clients as well. So another thing to consider on this is open houses, if you do them the right way, and obviously you're watching this module, so you know that basically what we teach is you should be getting a pretty qualified client every open house with the way we do open houses. So you want to do them as much as possible because you get clients off of them, but you also want to do them for your client. And this is how I explain to the client. Now, if they're living in the home, which most people are a lot of times, if they're living in the home and you have to set up showings throughout the week, and you don't have open houses, then basically people get out on the weekends, they get out during the week, and then you basically have to schedule all this stuff for them to get out of the house, things of that nature. What I have found to be true, if you have open houses frequently until you sell the house, most agents or clients will come to the open house because they know it's open, and they'll plan around that. That way, they don't bother your clients as much, and they're still getting more exposure than if they didn't have open houses. So the people that were going to come are still going to come, obviously, and then they get the added exposure on the weekends. And anytime you make the house more accessible, the better off the clients' chances are of selling their home faster. So that's where you have to tee it up for the clients. I've had clients that don't want to do open houses, and I'm very against that. But it's their house, it's their choice. But open houses, I hate it when real estate agents try to be like, well, I did the open house, meaning, you know, I did the one that I was supposed to do. Check that box. You know, use these. Be effective at doing them. Get clients out of them, and get listings by telling potential clients that you're serious about doing it. You're going to do them, and you're serious about selling their house. They'll appreciate it. So perks. So this is some of the things I do. I suggest using and offering things like stagers, professional photographers, text marketing, and featuring listings on Zillow or Trulia on top of open houses, yard signs, and brokers opens. It sounds like a lot of time and money, but it's not. My stager that's featured in house cost me $150 to walk in for a consultation of, you know, where to place the owner's stuff. Good deal. Professional photos. I think I get 50 to 60 photos professionally done. They look awesome for $125. Text marketing, $30 per month. I think you get 99 keywords, and it's basically unlimited text to the sign. And that's $30 per month for all my listings. So you can split that across every listing that I have. Featuring listings on Trulia and Zillow. So Zillow Premier, that's where you have to buy, I think, impressions. You know, and they... You know, that's a different thing. It's however much you buy is kind of dictates that kind of thing on Zillow. So muddy waters over there. I do Trulia. Trulia is like $69 a month to be considered a pro. So it's like a membership. And I think they let you, for $69, let you feature, it's either 3 or 10 listings. And what I mean by feature is when you feature a listing, it comes up first, or one of the first ones on the search results. So your clients' homes are always at the top of the search results, so they get looked at first, as opposed to being the 70th one down where they've already found the house they want to go look at, or they've already found the 10 they want to go look at. So it just makes it easier for potential clients to find the home. So I offer that as a perk because I see a lot of value in that. I know there's a lot of competition out there, and I want to be at the top of the list. Now, these show that you're serious about getting the listing. A lot of your competition will say it's not necessary, but your clients will brag to all their friends, and that's a true story. And what I mean by that is other agents are like, well, I'm good enough to sell it on my own, or if it's priced right, it's going to sell. You know, and those things might be true, but the fact of the matter is, if you're willing to do the listing right, and you're willing to offer professional photography, it says a lot about you as a professional, and it shows that... I would just hate, let me put it to you this way, I hate to be the realtor coming in after you saying that, oh, they don't need a professional photographer, they do their own photography. After you say that you're using a professional photographer, that guy's out. I'm telling you that right now, it's over. So you bringing that professionalism to the real estate profession is going to say a lot about you, and it's going to basically speak volumes on how you like to do business. So I will show you what I say and do, and you can pick and choose what works best for you. So check out my listing presentation on the next video. I'm not going to, like I said, there's no question and answer on the deal, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to load that presentation on here next. So it'll be part of the module, or if you just want to watch it at your own leisure, it's also in the video library. Again, it's about 20 minutes long, and I'm just going to walk through bullet by bullet, like how it goes and how the flow of it goes, and you'll see the different components. So it'll be me standing with my brand first, with being my company, my brokers, then why they want to use me. Then we're going to talk about some marketing statistics on how long it should be on the market, or how long it should be on the market versus, you know, what price we go in at. And then we do some, you know, facts about the market, things of that nature. And then we're going to walk down my marketing plan for their home. And then at the end, we're going to talk about price at the end. So you're going to see how we kind of walk down. Trust me, believe me, it's not just me, it's a brokerage and a company. I know a lot about your neighborhood. I know a lot about your home. This is how I'm going to sell it. I'm the marketer, you know, of the best marketer of this generation. And then let's talk about brass tacks, and then we'll kind of close it up. So that's next. So enjoy. Hi, John and Jane. Again, I want to thank you for letting me come over to your home and giving me the opportunity to explain to you why I think myself and RE/MAX is the best partner for you to get your home sold. I just want to tell you a little bit about RE/MAX. So we've been in business for over 40 years and have had ridiculous results. We're one of the biggest worldwide real estate companies. And we're one of the most productive and not just the biggest. We're privately held. We're based in Denver. We build a lot of our foundation, our customer service, experience, and education And, you know, we make great things happen and have made great things happen over the past 40 years. RE/MAX is a great company. I had many choices of other brokers to join when I started my real estate career, and I chose RE/MAX based on their ability and their history of being a great organization to be a part of. Now, I actually worked for RE/MAX Fine Properties. We sold $600 million in property in 2014, and we have over 150 agents doing that. There's only one other RE/MAX brokerage in the world that's bigger than us, and it's actually in Dublin. We're the biggest, most influential in the Valley here in Phoenix. There's 64 RE/MAX brokerages, and we're one of those 64. And we're required to treat all other agents' listings as our own. So you're not just getting me, you're getting the other 149 agents actively trying to sell your home. So, I mean, why would you hire me? I know how to find buyers. I market through all mediums, both digital and physical, and we'll see some of that later on as we go through this presentation. I have relationships with, obviously, the 150 agents in my brokerage, as well as many others in the Valley here. Doesn't matter if they're with Keller Williams, Century 21, Coldwell Banker, Sotheby's. You know, we're all friends, and they come to my broker's opens, I go to theirs. And, you know, I'm able to leverage myself in the community to get homes sold. And also my negotiation skills. In a previous life, before I was a real estate agent, I negotiated many products during product launches with many other vendors. And that's one thing I pride myself in, is being able to know what I have that's of value and how to negotiate the highest money for that value in any situation. So why RE/MAX? Not just because of the other things we listed before on the other slide, but we're the most recognized brand in real estate. And the reason why that is we're in 93 countries, and we spend the most money marketing property in our brand name than any other real estate company. We actually sell a home every 38 seconds. So here's how we stack up, and I'm not going to bore you with all the statistics here, but our brand awareness reaches 28.1% of Americans. We're in 97 countries. We have almost 6,500 offices worldwide. And actually, this slide is a little dated because just 3 weeks ago, we actually had 100,000 agents worldwide. So very impressive milestone for us. So the most advertised brand in real estate. So we have 3.7 billion customer impressions, providing exposure to millions of potential buyers for your home. And we spend over $42 million in national advertising. So if you watched the Cubs game last week, you would have seen RE/MAX in the backstop. We spend a lot of money marketing, not just for our brand name, but so we attract buyers for the properties that we sell. So the luxury buyer has emerged. So what other agents don't know that I do and what RE/MAX knows is that the luxury buyer might not be down the street. They might actually come from other countries, and these are where the top 5 affluent buyers come from in the world. Russia's being number 1 right now in our area, followed by China, Britain, France, and then lastly is America for the top 5 buyers. So growing wealth in emerging economies will lead to future housing growth. We saw the big boom with Canada back in the early 2000s before the decline. That's back. And our most important buyers over the next few years are going to be China, Russia, the Middle East, and also Latin America. So knowing that, and RE/MAX has the reach in 93 countries, we're able to leverage our brand and our listings to expand, not down the block from you, not the next city, not even the next state, but also the next country away to advertise your property. So more global connections than any other brand. So again, this is kind of just an infographic to show all the countries we represent in the world. And like I said, there's over 93. And that's we're trying to sell properties, not just in the U.S., but also in Australia, or trying to sell properties in the U.S. to Australians, and it goes back and forth. So let's bring this back down to earth a little bit and get in the neighborhood. So our monthly sales were $6,495. That's up 8% year over year, but 30.2% month over month. This is one of the best times for you to sell your home. As you can see, we're basically on just a major rise right now in sales. The new inventory, obviously you can tell by this, is declining. We're down a little under 6% year over year, but we're down almost 24% month over month. There's not a lot of selection out there for buyers, meaning if you're getting ready to list your home, this is the perfect storm for you. Now, month of supply of inventory, again, that is dipped. We were at 5.5 months of inventory. Now we're down to a little over 3.5. So you can see it almost got chopped in half there. So again, that's just kind of showing what's available and what kind of demand we're seeing out there. So our average days on market, I've kind of expanded a little bit. And the reason why that is in my opinion, last year it was 72. This year it's 88. People just aren't as quick to the draw as they used to be. And there was a little bit more inventory out there this year that moved just a little bit slower. But again, that's under 3 months, so we're still moving fairly quickly. So let's talk a little bit about fair market value. Any type of property, when you're thinking about selling it, has a fair market value. The value of a home in a nutshell is what somebody's willing to pay for it, not what you or I think should be paid for the property, unfortunately. So the value of your home is based on the location, the condition, the buyer demand, which we just talked about, seller motivation, which is you and how badly you want to sell your house and how quickly, prices of similar properties, or what we call comparables, recent sales of comparative properties, again comparables, and the availability of financing. If we can get people financed, then people buy houses faster or bigger depending on the availability of that money. So the key factors to remember in a nutshell, what's going to affect your home? It's going to be the price, the terms, condition, the marketing, and the value. That's what's going to decide if and how much your home gets sold for. So let's talk a little about the window of opportunity. So we talk about a property being hot on the market or stale. This kind of shows a graphic of what I mean by that. So the first 4 weeks, the property kind of reaches its peak of interest. And if it's priced right, you should start seeing offers around that time, that 4 to 6 week period. If you have a little bit of wherewithal and you want a little bit higher price for the home, that's fine. You can wait it out longer, but you're just looking at a longer sales cycle for that. But this obviously just kind of tells you what the window of opportunity is. A lot of times sellers want to make the mistake of overpricing the home to begin with, so we can always drop. Unfortunately, once the home stays on the market for too long, people might get a stigma about the property, thinking, oh, it's been on too long, something might be wrong with it. They're not flexible sellers. So we're going to make sure we leverage that window of opportunity and be priced right to sell as quickly as possible. So let's talk about pricing. So we kind of touched on it a little bit in the window of opportunity, but basically you want to be priced right to get sold in the right type of listing period. So we have a pyramid to the side that says the asking price and how many prospective buyers. If you get to market value, 60% of the buyers will bite. Under market value, 75, even further under market value, 90. But even if you're 10% over market value, you're only going to attract 30% of prospective buyers. Those aren't buyers; those are prospective buyers. So you want to be priced correctly to get the most for your property in a reasonable amount of time. So let's talk about the marketing and branding essentials. So I know I'm not the only person you're going to have in here giving you a listing presentation for your home, but I do want to cover the basics of what, basic offering that I'm going to give you as well as most people are going to give. So obviously you'll have a yard sign. I have, obviously a very nice yard sign professional company that comes out, sets the post, so it'll be done correctly. I love to do open houses. I think it's the best way to bring people through a home. A lot of times when you have an open house, or you have one a week or two a week, the people tend to come to the open house as opposed to inconveniencing you during the week for a showing. So it can have a little bit of benefit there. It's kind of a forced showing on the weekends. We do property brochures and postcards for the community to get the word out that the house is for sale. And then we also do broker tours. So about 2-3 weeks in, after we hit kind of the time when people are aware the house is on the property, I like to bring in other realtors from the area and kind of give them the rundown, give them the tour, because obviously I'm going to know how to sell the property with all the features and upgrades, and I want to let them know about all the features and upgrades, so when they bring one of their clients in to view the property, that they know exactly how to sell it and not just, let them walk through the house and then not be able to sell it for you. So broker tours are very important to the sale of a home. So let's talk about exposure. So that's the basic exposure. Let's talk about how RE/MAX gives you more exposure. So we have 52 million total visits a year on our website, which your home will also be featured on. So that's more than obviously any of these others brands out there. And the reason why is one, we're the most recognized brand, and we also spend that $42 million a year I told you about exposing your property to buyers at RE/MAX.com. So now let's talk about the maximum exposure. So that's a little bit, that's the high levels at 52 million clicks per year. But we have individual sites, we have mobile sites, we have luxury sites, we have tablet sites, we have all these places where people can find your home. And that's really what it comes down to is how much can I expose this home to how many people the fastest so we can get it sold and sold at the highest price. So that's really what it comes down to. You're also going to be on all these sites. I personally feature my sales on Trulia. That's where a lot of buyers go to look at the properties. So when they do a search, yours will come up first. I pay for that feature. You'll obviously be on the MLS. You'll obviously be on Zillow, Yahoo Real Estate, RE/MAX.com like we just talked about, HomeFinder.com, which is an emerging site, which is great, HGTV, Homes.com, and Realtor.com. Be on all these sites and hundreds more. The reason why I would be on hundreds more is everybody picks up the MLS, usually for their sites. They'll get your home automatically. Some of these sites you have to load them in, which I'll do that for you. So let's talk about, these are things that kind of happen automatically, and this is kind of the boilerplate stuff that people give. I like to provide more service for my clients. One, because it helps us move the house faster. And two, it helps us move it at a higher price. The reason why is I'm going to get the first impression off on the right foot by offering a few other services. So I offer professional photography, and it's a must to promote the beautiful and unique aspects of your home. The reason why I say that is 9 out of 10 buyers start their house hunting online, and what they're going to look at, they're going to look at pictures. If your pictures aren't great, they're not going to want a showing, and they're not going to care. So we got to give you the best possible advantage by getting professional photography done. And when I say professional photography, that's not me with an expensive camera. That's an actual photographer that's going to come by, will set the appointment, they come in, they make sure the lighting's right, and they take the best possible pictures of your home. Agents do their own photos. In my opinion, they're cheap. I'm not trying to put them down, but they're only concerned about their money and not selling your home. I don't spare any expense when it comes to it because I know what a difference it makes when people look online. Professional staging consultation. So I offer staging from an interior designer. It's actually featured in Houzz, H-O-U-Z-Z, which is a very prominent site on the best interiors that you can find in the nation. She uses your existing furniture and decor to appeal to the masses, the buyers that are out today, and what they're looking for in a home. And the placement and arrangement of the furniture can help set your home apart from the rest. So this is something that hardly anybody offers. I believe in it 100% because I know what a difference it makes when somebody walks into a room and it's set up the way that maybe they see on HGTV or things they're seeing in the media that's very modern or contemporary, up-to-date stuff that they can basically see themselves living in or want to be living in. So I don't spare any expense. I pay for that. I pay for the photography. I pay for the staging. And this is all to move your home faster and at the highest possible price. I also do text marketing. So you also see on your sign it'll say text home to XYZ numbers. And the reason why I do that is that basically they text it, and then it comes across my phone that somebody asked for information, and it gives them a website that shows the price and the pictures of the house, but it allows me to be very proactive and set up a showing. I call them or text them back immediately saying, hey, my name's Nick, I'm listing this property, it looks like you wanted more information. If you'd like to see it, let's set up a showing tomorrow. If they tell me I have an agent, I say that's great. I'll meet them there with their agent, and let's get you inside the house so they can see the house as soon as possible. I try to be just as aggressive as bringing buyers to the home as I am selling the home online or digitally. I have a great work ethic when it comes to getting down to the ground level and pulling people through the home to get it sold as quick as possible. And text marketing is one of the better ways to do that. So let's talk about some of your responsibility with presenting your home. So first impressions are going to be crucial. We want to decorate for a quick sale, and that's why I bring in the interior designer for a consultation. You want to let the sun shine in, so I'm going to tell you before she tells you, make sure you have the screens off the windows, make sure the windows are clean. We're going to bring in the brightest light in for the photographer to get the best possible pictures. And again, say fix that faucet. So that's just, if you have any nagging repairs that need to be done in the house, just make sure all the handyman work gets done. You don't want the prospective buyer to point it out. Buyers are very critical about homes. Sometimes I think that they think every house is supposed to be new when they buy it, but we just want to kind of nip that in the bud before it starts and make sure any blatant maintenance that needs to be done is taken care of. So, like I said, repairs do make a difference. Just make sure all repairs get done, and basically value from top to bottom. So, display the full value of your garage, storerooms, and other utility space by removing all unnecessary articles. Brighten dark and dull rooms by painting walls. You know, if you have a blue or purple room for the kids, let's make sure we get back to a neutral color. It's amazing how people don't understand, buyers don't understand when they bring in it's just paint. So we kind of have to go take that step for them. You know, make closets look bigger, make sure they're organized. Bathrooms help sell homes, make sure we have any repair that needs to be done. Make sure it's super clean, make sure everything sparkles, and arrange rooms neatly. So if you know we're going to be moving, you're going to be selling your house, and we're going to be moving into another house, let's go ahead and start packing some stuff up, living on the bare essentials, and make that house look staged as opposed to being lived in by somebody. It'll make a huge difference. So now we come to the end. I want to talk about fair market value for your house. So we talked a little bit about what determines that. I'm going to give you what the comps are for the home, what the sales in the area kind of dictate the home will be around for the value. And I also want to bring in some consumer sites, such as Zillow. You're probably familiar with Zillow, which is a consumer site, and also Redfin, which is also a consumer site. And the reason why I bring these in is they have algorithms, and they're not the end-all be-all. A lot of times they're not even close to being accurate, but unfortunately it's where the consumer goes to see what the values are and search their price range. If they search a price range, the asking price is going to be on there, and then it's going to have their estimated price. So I'm going to bring these into the equation here. So basically the suggested selling price based on comps and the tax records for your home is going to be $431,552. Zillow says it's worth, in its opinion, $415,587. And then Redfin says, based on the other properties around, in its opinion, it's worth $430,000. So basically what we can take away from this is if you decide to list your home with me, we're going to take all these numbers into consideration, and we're going to come up with a price that both meets your goals of selling the house and in what time frame and what you need to get out of the home as far as money, and then we'll land on a number that we think is fair based on the finishes and condition, everything we talked about before, and then we'll go to market at that price. I always like to work with my clients on the price of their home based on their goals, because there's a lot of different situations why people sell homes. They have to move due to a job, or they don't have to move. They just think it's a good market and they have a great home, so they charge a little bit more and they have all the time in the world. So again, it's everybody has different motivations and prices for selling their home. We just have to make sure we stay within the realm of reality, because at the end of the day, the house has to appraise if it's not a cash sale. So we have to stay within, you know, the inbounds when it comes to that. I'd like to thank you for giving me the opportunity to present this preview of the marketing services I can offer for your property. I would love to help you sell your home. Again, I'm not in the business of listing property. I'm in the business of selling it. So obviously you have my card. That's how, you know, how I got here today. But I want you to call, text, or email me at any time. If I'm not the only realtor you're interviewing, I'd like to get a time or date to follow up so we can make sure that we're on the same page. We can get your house listed and sold as soon as possible, and I can get my interior designer lined up, my photographer lined up, and get all those resources lined up to get your home on the market and sold as soon as possible. So I'd like to thank you for the time today. I really appreciate it, and hopefully I hear from you soon on getting your home listed. So that's the end of our presentation. Again, go to our user area, check out all the videos that we have, and I look forward to seeing you in the rest of the modules.